Welcome to the Candid Athletic Training Podcast. It's Kevin and Chad coming at ya.
That was strong. Strong intro by Kevin, as always.
I was trying to channel, I don't know, what if we were
It's kind of like
WWE wrestlers?
I was thinking more like Sunday, Monster Truck.
Monster Trucks. Same crowd. Same fan base. Which is everybody. Because who doesn't like a monster truck and who does not like wrestling? Good morning to all of our live listeners.
Where are you?
I'm with Nate.
He must be in the Southern Hemisphere.
Where the heck is he? Where the heck are you, Nate?
He's in the Dirty South.
It's the Candid Athletic Training Podcast.
Number 243.
If you thought you were tuning into something else, just hang tight. You're going to enjoy yourself.
We do have a
We're gonna
fun
have a good time.
show. We have a fun show.
Give us a shot.
We're
right?
hoping to have a special guest on.
Yeah.
So before that special guest jumps on, may or may not jump on. We'll see. The offer stands. But let's just thank our sponsors here. Oh, you know what? Let's thank Healthy Roster, the official sponsor of Candid Athletic Training. Check them out at healthyroster.com. I went through that really fast because our guest is here, and we're going to join. We're going to be joined. Hello, sir.
Hello, Ed.
Oh, hold on.
Turn your volume on, Chad.
Are you there? Can you hear us?
You might be muted.
We see you.
I see you.
Oh, good. Can't hear
he
Can't
is.
hear me.
He's there. We're good. Hi. We're
Hi.
live. You're on.
Ed, you're on, man.
Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us where you're from and who you are.
So I'm Ed LaCara. I live in Dallas, Texas, originally from San Francisco Bay Area. I own a regenerative medicine and wellness clinic called Body Lounge Park Cities, where I do a lot of rehab and other things like IVs and hormone optimization, lots of blood work, aesthetics. We're about to move into a new clinic and have hyperbaric and ARX, blood flow restriction, Vasper, DEXA scanner, a lot of badass shit, actually.
I was going to say, you said it eloquently.
So
badass shit.
First and foremost, Ed is our Smart Tools Plus go-to. He's been on the show before.
Yeah.
Smart Tools, obviously one of our sponsors. Check them out, smarttoolsplus.com. 10% off using the code CANDID10 on anything you want. And we're super excited. We had Ed on a couple months ago. He did a continuing education course for us. It must be hot down in Texas.
He's doing something.
Whew.
He's getting limbered up for this show. I think he's bringing it strong tonight.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Are we getting a show or what?
So we asked Ed to come on. They've got version 4.0, which has been out for a little while now, and Kevin's got it right here in front of us. And we wanted to just talk shop with Ed because every time he's come on, it's been really fun. We like to say nerd out and talk about kind of what's the latest and greatest in the Smart Tools world, and specifically with these new cuffs. So let's nerd out.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's do it.
So you've had yours for a while. Kevin pre-ordered.
I did pre-order.
So Kevin's had it basically longer than most. So
I think so.
And Kevin, give us your candid feedback here.
Candid feedback.
Yeah.
All
How much are you using it?
Every single day.
Wow.
Every single day. I think I have everything from like one-on-one patients that I'm just adding into their treatment protocols to people that are literally only coming here just for BFR. They said, I heard about this before. You convinced me. Let's get to a regimen and let's see if these things work. A couple of my patients are on round number 2 already of, hey, it worked for my hip. Maybe let's try my shoulder. And my other therapists are loving him as well. I think as any product, we had some hiccups in the beginning and I would say what was amazing is that Ed and everybody over at Smart Tools had solutions, and if they didn't have the immediate solution, they found one, and now they work flawlessly for me right now. Like, every update you guys have done has legitimately fixed bugs that you got to probably before I even experienced. So it's awesome. The app is super easy to use. I think the cuff itself is, I mean, it's just this, people, and it's got 2 buttons on it, and it's very, very easy to use, which is amazing, because sometimes the hardest part about doing any of it is setting up the cuffs and calibrating them, and just a few steps in and you're there.
So Ed, why don't you, like, for somebody who's new to our show or maybe not heard you come on before, why don't you just do like a minute or two on what BFR is, and then you can dive into what you're most excited about with these the new version of the cuffs, or go wherever you want to go with it. But just in case somebody's brand new to our show and hasn't heard you speak before, if you could give them like the reader's digest version of BFR.
Yeah, sure. It's it's the ultimate biohack, as Dave Asprey or Ben Greenfield would say. It's basically tricking the brain and the body to think that you're doing high intensity exercise, but you're really doing very light loads. So we use the cuffs at a certain inflation to reduce arterial blood flow into the limbs, and you fully occlude venous return. So you're basically putting a cuff on. You're blocking a certain percentage of blood going into the upper arm, let's say. And what that does is it creates some physiological stress that your body reads as something I need to adapt to, both at the cellular level, at the muscular level, and then at the tendon level, and then at the brain level systemically. We know although it sounds very scary, like, I think the name is terrible. I think we need to really change the name, but I'm not. That's above my pay grade. It's very safe. It's got crazy efficacy in the literature. Like, when I first started looking at the literature in 2015, before we dove into this big pool, there was over 800 studies on safety, reliability, validity, and it just got more and more. Now we're getting, I don't know how many studies there are now. It's a lot. I'm doing an update to our level 1 program, and it's taken me forever because I'm digging through, resource after resource to make sure I have as good of up-to-date education as possible. And it's, it's good because in the past, when I've done work for places like TRX or Rock Tape or Trigger Point Performance or other places, a lot of times we had to take existing literature and apply it to the tools that we were using. It's kind of a backwards way to do it, right? And validate the tool. This is the opposite. Like, the literature was there. We just basically had to make a very affordable but high quality tool, and then build education that is as evidence informed as possible. And we did it before with instrument assisted soft tissue. That's really why I joined the company. Mm-hmm. Nick was in chiropractic school. He had a golfer's injury, tennis elbow, and he basically fell in love with instrument assisted soft tissue, but he went to go buy a set of tools while he was in clinic, and it was like $3,000. And he's like, crap, I'm not spending that. I don't have that kind of money. And his parents were in the tool. His dad was in the tool and die, and his uncle is in the tool and die industry. And he basically brought a take home kit of a certain tool. And he said, could you make me a set of these? Yeah. It's kind of a cool story, because then he brought it back to the clinic, and all of the other students were like, whoa, can you make me a set? And can you make me a set? And Nick talks about having this shoebox full of cash underneath his, and he's like, I think this could be a business. And so we basically did the same thing with BFR, because at the time, back in 2014, 2015, when I started looking at this stuff, it was the minimum was $8,000 for a cuff,
Yeah.
$7,000, let's say, plus a mandatory $700 one-day training to use that only cuff. And, so there was a big barrier of entry there. And I said, well, why don't we do the exact same thing that we did with instrument assisted, but with BFR? And, Nick was like, let's do it. And we came out with Generation 1 cuffs in 2016, and it sucked. And we really made some bad mistakes. And we pulled it off the market within about a month, because we couldn't find limb occlusion pressure. We thought we were going to be able to. New literature came out that suggested that you should be using a specific percentage of limb occlusion pressure for safety and efficacy. So we went back to the drawing board, lost a lot of money, because we had rolled those out and came out with a second generation, not very long after that first generation. And then about 2 years later, came out with Gen 3, which was a huge upgrade, because now we had detachable automatic Doppler and pump. And then here's Generation 4, which is all app-based. What's very interesting, I can get into the differences between Gen 3 and Gen 4, but we still have Gen 3 on the market because there were still a lot of places that didn't want to have their staff, like let's say at the Veterans Administration, they put in a big order for the government. They didn't want people using their phone. They didn't want employees using their phones or having to have iPads and stuff. So they're using the Gen 3s. So we brought the Gen 3s back, but we only have one version of it now. Whereas before we had a pro and a consumer, now we just have one version. And so I thought that was interesting. I thought everybody would want the new techie thing. I'm like, ooh, iPhone, 15 is out. I got to go get it. And people are like, ooh, maybe, more techie is not necessarily better. And so we still have a lot of people using the Gen 3s.
What percentage?
It's valid and reliable.
What percentage you think, if you had to guess?
I would say
it's really interesting.
33% of new orders are Gen 3, and 66 is Gen 4, and that remaining 0.5% or whatever it is looking for Gen 1, but we don't have Gen 1, so I can't help it.
I want the original suck.
Yeah, I want the original one. They got to be cheap, right? They got to be on eBay.
Yeah, right.
Cheap, right? Yeah.
If I get last year's model, don't I save money?
You should. You should. Well, we might even be able to find a Gen 1 around. I'm sure around my house I could find it somewhere.
That's awesome.
So Kevin pulled this out, and I got super excited because he just held it up, and there was just no strings attached, per se. It's just such a cool concept. So people who are listening in audio form, Kevin's holding up the new generation here of a cuff. Wraps around the leg or wraps around the arm, as I had to explain, and you turn it on.
Should have brought that, what are they called? Lazy Susan? Just spin it on here.
Yeah. So the feedback's been quite positive, or?
It's been, like you said, it's just like, I've had to tell people that are my friends that have purchased the cuffs, there was a lot of pressure to get this cuff out, right? Because Nick did something that no business does. He warned all of his customers, listen, Gen 4 is coming out. Do not buy Gen 3 unless you really need to have it tomorrow. Because he didn't want, he's been very authentic his whole career at Smart Tools. He didn't want people to buy it and all of a sudden the next day Gen 4 is available, right? And people are like, whoa, I just spent all this money on Gen 4 and or Gen 3, and now you have a new generation. I think he did not sell any cuffs for 4 or 5 months by doing that. But I also think he gained fans and trust and credibility in the marketplace, because not a lot of companies would do that. And so by rushing it a little bit, I'm sure he would get mad at me for saying this live, but by rushing it and not having a beta tester out there, we had a few hiccups. It's just like getting the iPhone, though. Every iPhone that comes out, how many updates come out the first couple months, right? I got the iPhone 15. I think the updates every day, it almost seems like. And, then you finally get caught up with the feedback. And now that we've got thousands of these things out there, it's pretty solid. there's some things that we would like to improve, but we're limited on technology and space. Like, there's only so much you can pack into that little thing. Sometimes people are like, oh, I'd love it, if there was more memory or there was more this or more that. And it's like, we don't have a laptop that you want to put on your arm. Like, we only have so much space. And a battery takes up a large percentage of that,
Yeah.
so you've got to I think he's done a really, really good job at figuring it out, and also having literature supported efficacy on finding limb occlusion pressure, because no other cuff has that. Like Delphi does, but no other cuff. So, for the price point, it's pretty amazing, and it's affordable by everybody in every clinic, out there.
It really is. And I'm like not joking that, so I sell packages, and I paid off the entire, like, I don't know if you call it the clinic package or the pro package or whatever it is, where I have a set of each size. I mean, I sold 2 packages the first day, and all of a sudden, boom, they were paid off. So
that's pretty good. That's pretty good ROI in business. Yeah. We would love that ROI every day, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so they're nothing but profit for me now, which is amazing. And so kind of like speaking from my end, Ed, as a user of it, anything that like you need from the now millions of listeners that are listening, that all use Smart Tools cuffs, anything from us that could benefit you guys so that you can continue to make the cuff better? I mean, just like, is there any
100%.
feedback like that you would like
for sure.
specific?
I mean, we get feedback every day, no matter what, whether we want it or not. But the good thing is, and again, this is, propping up Nick and his team up there in Cleveland, is that he listens. The reason that we're at the 4th generation is because we've listened to the customers about what they want. And no other cuff on the market's been through 4 generations in 6 years. I'll tell you that right now. Most of them have had 0. None of them have had, individualized limb occlusion pressure that was validated by independent researchers. That we had no idea that was happening, and it just gets published, and we're like, one, we knew it because we had tested it 1,000 times, but number 2 is kind of like, woo, like, great. Like, it's independent validation that we need to be able to differentiate ourselves from some of the other things on the market. And so, I mean, we want your feedback. This isn't our last generation. We're going to continue to make this thing better, easier to use, better app, education. Really, I think, hitting on the education component, it's like education has changed so much in my career. I got my CSCS. I really don't want to say this because it really, really, really ages me. But I've had my CSCS for since 1994.
Nice.
Back in 1994, when we went to go get to CEUs, we basically would sit through however many days we needed to get the CEUs, right? You go to a conference for 2 or 3 days, get your 12 or 24, however many hours you needed. For my athletic training certification and licensure, we needed, 24. So you go to the yearly annual conference, and you get all nobody wants to do that anymore. These young whippersnappers do not want to go to a conference for a day. They really don't. And COVID really accelerated it. So, what I would love is feedback on what do people need to be able to utilize the cuffs safely and effectively. And so one of the things that I've come up with, because we have live courses, we have online, on-demand courses. And I think that there's a disconnect between those two, right? Like, and it's getting more and more difficult to fill those live courses because people don't want to travel. They don't want to spend the money. Times are a little tougher, but people still need their CEUs. So it's like, okay, so what is a good alternative because for me, like me hitting play on a video of especially me talking all day, like that's the last thing I want to do, right? So, we're coming up with this like hybrid coaching course that I'm going to start in January, where I'm going to give you live of me, but it's going to be in small snippets, like an hour a week, and then give you homework, play with the cuffs, do this assignment, this assignment, this assignment with a patient or a client or yourself, whoever you're using it with. And then let's bring it back and let's get feedback and live interaction. And I think that's I think it's going to be a nice way to kind of bridge the live versus the on-demand. You're kind of doing it synchronously, and of course you get the video playback and all those things too, but then we can offer live CEUs because I'm live. I can have videos in there for background. We don't have to go through a deep dive of the physiology, which I usually see people going to sleep about 15 minutes in. Mm-hmm. And so, I would love feedback about that. The other thing that I think education-wise that we need is condition-specific, for BFR. Like I did at a conference, APTA conference, physical therapy conference a couple of years ago, I did a BFR with ACL, and, we got really great response from that. And I think more clinicians want, condition-specific. Yeah, I might be wrong. Sure.
I think it's genius.
But, I think that having, you are not sure how to use BFR for an Achilles tendinopathy, and I can go in and on demand get, an 8-week program for one of my patients, based on the literature that's like, well, here's what the literature suggests about tendons and BFR. Is it different than muscle hypertrophy and muscle strength? And how do we do it in the early phase and the later phase? And giving some framework around, a program. And so that's what we're kind of working on, at least me and the education side. And then, of course, we want feedback as much as we can from people that are using it in the field, and, what's right, what's wrong, and how do we make it continually get and better? Because that's just what we're going to do.
I think from listening to you talk about the CEU stuff, I think it's really incredibly smart on two different levels. One, the repetition, the breaking it up and having them do something, because athletic trainers inherently learn by doing and getting their hands on. And when you're sitting in a live course, maybe you get some. And when you're watching on demand, usually like these long drawn out lectures, you get none. So if you're going to, say, hey, we're going to talk about this for an hour, and then you have to go home and do X, Y, Z, use the cuffs. That's the only way they're going to get to know the cuffs and get better is by doing. So I think that's genius. And like the case studies, I think are really a good idea too. Different types of injuries, because as athletic trainers, if I'm covering baseball, I might be seeing these 3 or 4 injuries quite frequently. And then when I cover cross country, I'm not seeing those same 3 or 4 injuries. So to hear, all right, this is how I would use it in this scenario, for, like you said, the Achilles versus, all right, here's a rotator cuff. I think that's incredibly smart.
Yeah. So people can be looking for that. I'm going to do a trial, because there's been many times in my life where I've thought people wanted something and they didn't. So I'm going to do a
Same here.
I'm going to do it.
It's called marriage.
Yeah, well, I won't even
kidding.
Get there.
I can say it. I can get in trouble. It's fine.
Your wife's never going to watch this. Don't worry
about it. Never. No.
But so I'm going to do a trial in January. We'll see how it goes. The other really interesting component is I've been kind of, surveying people that are interested, because I get texts and emails like every day, like, I've got this type of patient, what do I do? How can I, what would you suggest? Blah, blah, blah. So I reach out to them and I go, hey, what would be a good time to have a class? And, it's like, I'm in Central Time. Mm-hmm. And like, it's like, well, I was thinking like, 7:30 Central Time. And then people
Wednesdays
are like, well,
at 7:30 seem to be a terrible time for our listeners. I'm just kidding.
It's unbelievable, right? There's no great time. So it's like, okay, well, then do you do it on the weekend?
Do what's best for you.
Yeah, I think you're right. And then
Whatever works for you is the only answer. Like, we changed from Mondays to Wednesdays and we pushed the show back, and we got a lot of negative feedback about it from some of our listeners. But you know what? It's the only time that worked for Kevin and I. So if we didn't change the show, there was no show. So do what's best for you. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. All right.
And then the people that really want to learn the information will make it a point
figure it out
to get there.
Yeah. 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 That's good advice. What else? Like, I think a lot of people have asked me what the difference is between Gen 3 and Gen 4. So do I have a second to kind of talk about that?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. So there's nothing attached to it. I think that's so much fun to see.
Yeah. So the advantages of Gen 3 over Gen 4 are that you can take Gen 3 in the pool. So if anybody is swimming with these things, you're not going to do that with Gen 4, because Gen 4 has the it has the pump and the Doppler built in, and compared to just having our Gen 3 that does have a tether, but you unplug it once you've inflated it. So they both find LOP. They both get you to a pressure. You can both in the manual or the Pro Gen 3 and also in the Gen 4, you can set the pressure specifically. One of the things that in Gen 3 we wish we had, but we couldn't get a memory, and it was really draining on the battery, is being able to store previous sessions. Like, you could do the last session, but you couldn't do multiple sessions before. But the Gen 4 allows you to do that because you're storing it on your phone on an app. Right. So that's one of the big advantages, is that you can, as a provider, you can store your patients in there. And so my suggestion is to get somebody's limb occlusion pressure in lying and sitting and standing on all four limbs on the first session, and having that baked into your programming, so you can always just go back to that based on what type of exercise you're doing. So if I get the limb occlusion pressure the first day in the legs in a supine position, and then now I want to do glute bridges on my sixth session, I just go back to my first session and be like, okay, supine, here's what his LOP was. I can just go right to that pressure. And so the cool thing about Gen 4 is that they're very fast to get the LOP. I mean, and I'm talking like compared to Gen 2 and Gen 3, it's fast. I mean, it's amazingly fast. So, you're going to get it anyway, but it's cool to be able to go back and find previous and what the pressure was and what the weights they were using and all that stuff. It's nice to have that stored. So that's a big advantage.
Is there a limit to how many profiles you can store on the Gen 4?
No.
No limit. So you could be working football with 150 kids and.
Yeah, no problem.
With 150 BFR cuffs.
Please,
bought.
Please,
yeah, right?
Place the order. Yeah.
Place the order, folks.
Let's make it happen here. Yeah. Let's make it happen here at Candid Athletic Training.
Put the PO
10% off using the code Candid10.
That's right. That's right.
I will say, for anybody that is worried about the battery, because that was one of my worries. Am I going to have to charge this over and over and over again? Like, what if I have 3 patients in a row and they're all using the same size cuffs? What the heck? Like, now all of a sudden I need to charge them. Battery life is actually wonderful in my eyes. It's, of course, going to use a chunk of the battery every time you're going through a session for 20 minutes to a half an hour. But I'm going to say one of the most impressive things is one day I came in, I turn on my 2 cuffs, I pair them to my iPad, and I'm like, oh my God, they're like at 10% battery. And my patient was coming in 10 minutes. I'm like, shoot. I might have said shit. But I plugged it in, and then when I repaired it to my phone, like, they were at like 45 or 50% battery. So whatever battery is in here and combined with maybe whatever the charger is fast. So it's whatever you guys did with that. And I mean, very genius, because there's been a couple times, because I am always on top of things, and I'm saying that very sarcastically.
Never forgets.
Never forget to do anything that all of a sudden I check it and I'm like, oh my God. Scramble. Plugged it in for 10 minutes and it was all of a sudden, oh, I'm fine. I'm fine for the next 2 people probably.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's really cool. I think incredibly easy to use. I like using the app. I'm going to give you one feedback that I wish was there.
Whether you want it or not, he's giving it to you.
On the app itself, while you're using it and like they're in the middle of a session, I wish the timer, like the overall total time would pop up. Like it was calculating overall time for you. I'm surrounded by clocks, but I don't remember when I started.
Oh, got it. Because it gives you the set time, it gives you the rest time.
Correct.
And so you would like an overall exercise session time.
Correct.
Okay. That's interesting.
It gives it to you. It gives it to you at the end of it. Like, so, you end the exercise and then cuffs deflate, you take them off, and right there on the app, it tells you, oh, you've been doing it for 26 minutes. I have, and it's only because I have a couple patients that are like, they're talkers and like while they're working out. And so sometimes they're getting distracted. I'm like, hey, start working. Hey, you got to go. See, 30 seconds. We're going again. And every once in a while, I'm like, ooh, I'm hoping that we're not getting close to a 30-minute mark, because we still have a whole nother set of exercises we need to get to. It has been pretty foolproof, but at the same time, when you start getting into these single leg and you're doing it on both sides, trying to keep that running clock would be awesome.
Yeah. Okay. I will pass that along for sure. Yeah. Do you ever share, like, do you do it on your phone or your iPad, or do you do it, do you have a dedicated iPad? Like I have, like in my clinic, I just have a dedicated iPad that I have.
I have a dedicated iPad, and then I've also used my phone, because there's been a couple times where we've had 2 people at one time. So yeah, I'll just use my phone.
Yeah. Do you broadcast that like on a larger screen TV? Because that would be kind of cool if, because you could screencast it. Yeah. And then that way it's up for the patient and they can see that timer, because otherwise they can't really see the timer. And then they can see that rest.
Ed, I love
coaching.
It. Yeah,
BFR coaching. See that?
This is awesome, because I do have an Apple TV that I could just send it right to. Nice.
Yeah. I will talk to Nick about what it would take the engineers to put in an overall session timer, because that would be cool, especially with like cellular swelling when you're doing a 46-minute session basically. I like that idea. I think that would be very, very, very helpful. So thanks. Yeah, thanks for that. That's cool.
So as we get into the spring, when athletic trainers start kind of focusing on what their budget is for the next year, tell us where you're at in the market of BFR cuffs. Like, how many companies are out there? Price point wise, where are you at compared to others? Peacock yourself here. Why is Smart Tools the best?
I'm not going to say that we're the best. There's good products out there. I think that we have put the work in. I mean, again, this is our 4th generation. We've not stopped putting the work in. If you compare that to other companies, I can name a bunch that are still on their 1st gen, right? So, things change. Apple is still not on Gen 1, right? It's a lot different. Number 2 is that we have independent studies demonstrating that we can find limb occlusion pressure. So we know exactly what pressure to use safely and have efficacy with our patients and our clients, and most other cannot. You can't find LOP on a lot of the cuffs. Price point, I think you probably paid around, you got a pre-sale plus, whatever. You're probably paying about $1,500 for, all 3 sizes of cuffs. So 6 cuffs.
Actually, 8.
compared. Oh, sorry, 8 cuffs. Yeah,
Yeah.
we went to four sizes. So 8
Yeah.
cuffs. You can compare that to the other FDA listed cuff on the market at $6,000 for a single cuff. So, I mean, the price point it's pretty affordable. You can buy 2 cuffs, you can buy 4 cuffs, you can buy the Pro set at, if you want to kind of ramp up, you're still going to be, using the app. So it's, you can lean into it. I have most of my patients buy their own cuffs because they're so affordable. It's a lot cheaper for me and for them. And I get, hopefully none of my patients see this, but I get kind of sick of seeing people. So like, I'll see them, I'll write a program, they get their cuffs, they go do that for a little bit, and then I'll bring them back in unless I really need to do a bunch of manual therapy with them. So, by the time we're getting into the, first couple of weeks of a rehab program, they're doing most of their stuff at home. I'm just kind of coaching them. So, I mean, I haven't had one patient go, how much is that? I mean, it's like, yeah, it's 2 sessions with me and you're going to have your own cuffs. You're gonna be able to use these after you're done. Like, it's a no brainer. So that's pretty cool.
That's an interesting
I think
way to do it.
The education, of course, is, bar none.
Yeah.
Top notch.
Top notch, right?
The best.
I don't know. I guess that's about it. I think, we stand by our product. I think that's the other thing too, is that, you have other companies that are not manufactured here in the US and, good luck trying to get some help with them. You have a problem, call Smart Tools Hotline, see who you get. You either get Nick Colozzi, the CEO and founder, you get his mother, Brenda Colozzi, or you get his dad, Nick Colozzi, Meatloaf. And the only other person that's really there is his uncle, who kind of runs the books. Like it's
awesome.
Like it's the epitome of I'm the only other Italian that's not part of the family. Like it's like, and it's like, I was going to use a derogatory Italian joke, but I figured we can't do that. So
sounds like an episode of The Bear.
The Bear, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so I mean, like, even if you have a problem, like, you're not talking to, like, you're not getting outsourced to, an AI website widget. You're either getting the owner, the mother, or the father, or the uncle. I mean, that's it. We don't really have anybody else except for people we hire to put these things together and, assemble. And then of course the engineers, but you never want to talk to an engineer. My brother's an engineer. I haven't been able to talk to him in years. So, it's a cool thing we have going on. It's like, we're small. We try to put out a quality product, try to take care of our people, try to always innovate, and be affordable.
Ed, so since I've downloaded this app, when you go to the Academy thing, it says coming soon. Is that what we're talking? Can you tease more? Is that what you're talking about in January?
Well, the Academy is going to be, we're going to put a bunch of programming in there for folks. We're working on a new website. And so then I think it'll sync up with that.
Cool.
The coaching program we're going to do is, it's kind of that hybrid I was saying it'll be kind of I'm not going to call it asynchronous, but it's really synchronous because we are going to have live sessions, but you'll be also be able to watch it on demand starting in January. And that'll just be underneath like smarttools+.com/education. You'll be able to see, on demand level 1, how many CEUs you get, how many for PT, for ATC, for DC, for strength and conditioning. And then there'll be the live classes. We have live classes all over the world. It's just a lot less. Like we were going to do 250 classes in the US alone before COVID hit. And that basically went to 0. And so it really hasn't come back very much. So the live classes have really diminished. Like we might have 2 or 3 live classes a month now, whereas we were having 2 or 3 live classes per weekend across the US, at least, plus internationally. So my goal is to have, a live basic course. So this coaching, I'm calling it coaching because it is coaching. It's going to be one-on-one with me or with one of my instructors. We'll do a basic, which will be basically, I don't know much about BFR. I'm doing a review, and it's everything from what's limb occlusion pressure, how do I use this, how do I set up a program for myself or for a patient, kind of the basics. And then there'll be a level 2, which is my advanced, and we have BFR level 2, which is more of our after rehab, kind of the strength and conditioning, and how do you use some of the other settings within the BFR? Because if you've noticed, we have continuous BFR, we have intermittent BFR, and then we have our BFR, which is rest BFR. And that's where we do like interval sprints on the bike without the cuffs, and then we jump off the bike and we use the cuffs to occlude during the rest period. So those are all advanced type training, and so that'll be our level 2 class and our level 2 coaching for people that have been using BFR for a while. My goal is to have both of those courses each month. So no matter when you kind of come in, you're like, oh, I'm brand new to this, I want to learn about it. I can jump into level 1 class. And then once your level 1 class is done, then you can jump into level 2 the next month if you really want to, if you like it, or take a few months and then jump in. But it's always going to be offered, once a month. That's my goal. If we can get, obviously interest and I do think the interest is there. It's just a matter of, getting the word out.
Well, it should be. I mean,
Sounds
we
awesome.
talked about it last time. Kevin and I both feel like if you're an athletic trainer, working in the traditional setting or in the clinic setting, this is probably one of the best tools you can have when you're rehabbing an athlete. It travels with you. It's not, equipment intensive. It's safe, and it just fucking works.
It works.
Yeah. It just gets results. So we're huge fans of it. So yeah.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the product, Ed.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, thanks. Appreciate your support. Yeah.
And Uncle.
Mom and Uncle Don.
Love it.
Yep.
Colosi.
Yeah.
No, I don't have any other questions. If you don't, we just appreciate you coming on and kind of sharing them. We're going to continue to promote it, and we appreciate the relationship that we have, and appreciate your time and coming on and teaching athletic trainers about what it is and why they should be doing it. So
absolutely.
Yeah, my pleasure. Always an AT, that's for sure.
Yes.
Love it.
When was the last time you were on the sideline?
I was at a playoff game for the MLL, Major League Lacrosse, 3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a while, unfortunately.
That's about it's been 2 years for me, so.
Yeah, my wife was like, you're not traveling anymore. You're not doing this anymore. And the clinic is so busy. I just can't even breathe. So it's like, to try to get away or do any of that would be tough. We're right across from Southern Methodist University. I'd love to. I have done everything I can, volunteer, or like, hey, I've got all these cool tools. Like you need to send an athlete over. Nothing, like crickets. I'm like, all right, well, not a. I'm sure they get hit all the time, and they don't know me from Adam, and it's hard. It's hard to kind of break in, and I get my high school athletes, I get my college athletes, I get my pro athletes that trickle in, but it's not like being there and, being there in making a difference on a day-to-day basis. I do miss that a lot with my teams, but I still get to do it with my patients, which is cool, and gives me a little more time to innovate and do some cool stuff like we're doing in the clinic, and continue to advance on that side. And I was crazy enough. All my buddies think this is nuts, but I got my RN degree last year, and so I'm going to work on a nurse practitioner degree starting in January. So if I was limited on time before, it's going to be a little bit more limited. So yeah, no sideline work on my side, but I do want to be the first nurse practitioner at ATC that works sideline, because I think it would be a cool combination to be able to do primary care and ATC and CSCS and Chiro and all the other things, all mixed in one bag. Let's see if they ignore me after that.
We're talking to the Swiss Army knife of healthcare, seriously, of sports medicine.
Oh my goodness.
So
yeah.
Well, thanks, Ed. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, man. Thanks you, and thanks for all the support. We appreciate it.
And then obviously, if you're listening to the podcast here, make sure to check them out, smarttoolsplus.com. 10% off using the code CANDID10. So thanks a lot, Ed. Take
Thanks,
care.
Ed.
Be well. Happy holidays. Merry
Right.
Christmas.
Thanks. Same to you. And he's off.
And we're off.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
A lot of coverage there. Hopefully, if you are listening to this podcast and you don't know what BFR is, send us an email, candidathletictraining@gmail.com. Go on one of our social medias, reach out to us. We would love to talk about it. We love talking shop with everyone. So if you have questions, again, one of the best rehab tools that you can use, bar none. So
seriously.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a good chunk of time. So let's do some shenanigans and go home. Should we get into a fun show tonight?
Let's do it.
All right. Okay.
What the hell do you want to talk about?
Let's start with our friend or foe. So last week we did the whole the bag. Can the bag, your kit, be on the ground? Should it be above the ground? Then we started talking about just sitting on the ground. And then I put it up on social media. So let's friend or foe, sitting on the ground during coverage. Friend or foe.
During coverage.
Yeah, coverage. You're working. You're covering something.
It's 100%. It's a foe. What do the people say?
210 voters, 81%, so 4 out of 5 said foe, 19% said friend. Looking at the comments here.
Yep.
Michael Van Gilder, very much depends. Games, no. Outdoor practices, probably not. I'd bring a lawn chair. Ideally not. At indoor, you can find a chair. But worst case scenario, heck yeah, I will. Did last week on a road trip in opponent's gym where there were no chairs or bleachers out. There's only a couple. Okay, this is Ray Castle.
Mm-hmm.
There's only a couple of valid reasons to be sitting on the sidelines. 1, talking to or evaluating an athlete. Okay. 2, taking off, putting on your shoes.
Whoa.
3, it's mealtime.
Oh.
You're not working. 4, getting your toes cleated. If you know, you know. 5, you have a legitimate reason such as low back pain for a quick rest.
Gotcha.
Mike Van Bruggen, sitting on the ground, never. In a chair or on a bench, varies from sport to sport. I will always be on my feet at football, soccer, lacrosse, track, and field. Others may find me seated at different times. Many variables will affect that. Jennifer Van He, mostly because I'm over the 40 hill and getting up isn't as easy or fast as it used to be. And then Kayla Trevino said, which we miss you, come back, said, I think taking a knee would be a happy medium.
Oh, take a knee.
She's Kaepernicking.
Everybody take a knee.
I think it was interesting to say so there's like 2 parts of this. It's the professionalism, but then it's kind of like the speed /
I think
can you get to something on time?
It's 80% foe on the votes because of the perceived professionalism and
I agree.
Effort. If you're sitting, you probably you're giving off the perception that you're especially on the ground. If you're just on a chair, right? Like it feels different, right? If you say you're covering your basketball team and you're sitting in one of the chairs, like I don't know how bad that looks, but it's also probably going to end up being like, what is your administration / coach and all these things.
I'm a huge offender of this. I sat on the ground all the time during baseball. All the time. I think I effectively did my job.
I sat in the dugout all the time. All the time. Not in the big leagues. Not much. But that was because I felt like I was taking up somebody's spot. I wanted to be mobile so that I wasn't ever taking up somebody's spot.
You know what?
Most of the time in the minor leagues, when I sat, I actually had a better view of the field, and I could have a better conversation and watch the field.
Nate asked, would you guys sit in the dugout or do the one knee up on the step lunge position?
Both. Or
so long you have to like mix it up.
or like the hang on the rail. I would do
one knee up. You want to know the only reason?
I shat a lot though, because
The only reason not to sit on the ground.
Wet.
It's when it's wet and you're gonna get your khaki wet. You're gonna have that knee stain.
Oh yeah. Who hasn't thought it was gonna be dry, but it was wet?
It's the only reason I wouldn't sit.
That's what she said.
I missed it. That's a good one. So yeah, put me down as a huge unprofessional son of a gun.
You are.
This is as close. Let's make some traffic lights here. I forgot. Is the green on the top or the bottom?
Bottom.
The green's
sure.
on the bottom?
Yeah.
Go is on the bottom?
Pretty sure.
I can't remember right now.
Swear.
Which
Sometimes
one looks
it's
better?
left to right.
I think green is on the top. No, I don't know. Somebody on the live stream straighten me out. Been driving for 30 years. I couldn't tell you if the green. It's one of those things you just don't. Can you say with 100% certainty?
Kyle says yellow's in the middle.
Yeah, that's the only thing I know. Yellow's in the middle. Which one looks right here?
I'm gonna say that would be one of those classic.
Are you smarter than a fifth grader?
Yeah.
And now I'm going to need to call a friend.
And or
green definitely on the bottom.
Yeah. And or like, tell me what's wrong with this image, and they show you a street light, like, or a stoplight.
You could fool me either way. God dang.
Fool me once.
I'm an idiot. Okay.
Call me Chad.
So that's our friend or foe. We're talking a little bit of game show right there, right?
Game show.
Are you smarter than a fifth grader?
Yeah.
We're going to roll right into our fat.
I was good at that. What?
Our fat tonight, and you don't have any idea what this is about.
I do not.
So today is Howie Mandel's birthday.
Howie
Mandel.
Guy's a wild guy.
So we're going to debate which of his two game shows would make the better athletic trainer.
I love it.
Deal or No Deal,
Deal.
or America's Got Talent. He's the host of those are the two primary game shows he's been.
It's true.
Deal or No Deal, America's Got Talent.
All right.
Fat. Go.
Deal or No Deal. Basically, a bunch of suitcases full of money. You pick some, and you're hoping that you're left with the top dollar amount, right? That's how it worked, right? And then
probabilities. Yeah.
As it was going, they would offer you a deal, whether or not more of the higher.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just
one of my
clarifying.
favorite game shows. Yes.
You
have 6 cases left.
Mm-hmm.
One of these cases is worth $500,000. 4 of these cases are worth less than $500.
Mm-hmm.
We'll offer you $100,000. Deal or no deal?
Deal.
You would take the $100,000.
If it was 1 out of 5 odds, and I can get $100,000, absolutely. All right. Now, America's Got Talent. Now that's
skits.
Anything, right?
America's Got Talent. A bunch of acts come out there, and they have to put people through what's the most impressive.
It's not just like music, right? It's like juggling. I mean, it's everything, right?
Everything.
Okay.
It's yeah.
How is it judged?
Breakdancing. It could be magicians. It could be singing. It could be
okay.
Hula hooping.
So
they're the judges.
One's risk, chance, may the odds forever be in your favor.
It's a mathematical equation.
The other,
however, it seems to be a little bit more fast moving. You're taking chances. It's a little bit more, I think, pressure.
I don't know. Is it pressure
as a performer?
What's worse, to perform or to make the right choice? What's harder? What's more pressure? To be right or to actually execute? I don't know. I think it's
as an athletic trainer?
Yeah.
So athletic training is all about preparation.
Performing. All right. How about this?
How much of athletic training is just dumb luck, though?
Deal or no deal.
Deal or no deal.
And what about let's say, deal or no deal is going to give you that, what I'm trying to say, like, out of left field, right? You open a case, and it was the dollar case.
Surprise.
Right? Now the stakes have changed, right? They can dramatically change in an instant.
Fluctuations.
That's a lot of
athletic training.
You probably go into deal or no deal with the idea that you're saying, if they offer me at least $75,000, I'm taking it. I don't care what's out there. I want $75,000, right? But then all of a sudden, it's $65,000 on the table, and you say, nope, I don't want it. And then you open another case, and it drops to 50. I don't know. Does it ever drop and then go back up?
Yes, all the time.
Okay, so then it drops.
So like they'll stop after like 5. You pick 5 cases, they'll make you an offer. You pick 5 more cases, they'll make you another offer. Then you pick 4 cases. Then you pick, because you're whittling down from like 25 cases.
Yeah. So you have to have a game plan that has some very strong morals and beliefs and like guidelines in your brain that can be altered, right? Or is the better case, pun intended, that you go in there with no game plan and you're just like
winging it,
see what happens.
So Kyle says America's Got Talent is better because ATs are able to perform skills and services, are able to adapt quickly to an unfamiliar situation. Nate says America's Got Talent is more versatile. Deal or no deal is the give and take bartering with your athletes. So America's Got Talent is more subjective, which I think a lot of athletic training is subjective. Yeah. You've got 3 or 4. I don't know how many judges there are, if it's 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But they'll watch something and 2 may like it and 1 may not like it. And there's just a difference of opinion. And there's a little bit of that in athletic training. You watch somebody's mechanics and you'll see 2 different people will say 2 different things.
Is America's Got Talent, is it like American Idol where people get kicked off the show?
I believe so. I've never really watched it, but I believe so.
Neither.
Get a golden ticket to Las Vegas or Los Angeles or whatever.
So I'm
not sure how you win. America's Got Talent also, at the root of it, you're watching a bunch of different performances.
Yep.
And you're judging them. However,
deal or no deal.
You're not actually influencing what the performance. You're not influencing it at all. You're just judging.
Deal or no deal.
Deal or no deal. The actual game is up and down, and you are actively navigating.
This is why I'm picking deal or no deal.
I really
exactly
like
what you're
deal or no
just
deal,
saying
yeah.
right now. You're actively navigating. When you are let's face it, we're kind of saying if you're going to be a contestant in a way, like on AGT or DOND, being in that seat of being the contestant,
You're the decision
what
maker.
is that like, you know? And I think overall, one of them is a little, to me, as an athletic trainer, we constantly have to take in the new information and adapt, and then take in the new information and adapt. I do agree that America's Got Talent, you need to be versatile in order to succeed, but I feel like I'm going deal or no deal.
So Deal or no deal is like,
I want the sweat on
I
the
feel
brow.
like deal or no deal is a little bit more like being a physical therapist where the structure is the same every single time.
You mean AGT?
No, deal or
Oh.
no deal.
Oh, okay.
It's you're picking suitcases no matter what. If you're in America's Got Talent, you're watching a variety show. The variety could be rehab, it could be treatment, it could be taping, it could be eval. You're just judging. This is really interesting. This is really interesting. Because you're not affecting it, you're just judging. It's like if you were an athletic trainer and you didn't really get to like, you could just give feedback, but you couldn't really do any hands-on skills to to help the athlete. Man, that's tough.
What do you got?
I want to put this on social media.
Number 4, 10,
I love
11, 7.
Personally, it's not even close on which game show I like more. I just don't. I'm having a hard time which would make it better. Like comparing a game show to athletic training is really fun. We've only done it once before.
It's true.
Do you know who was? Oh, was it Jeopardy versus Wheel of Fortune?
And
it was
Price
3.
Is Right.
And Price is Right.
Yeah.
We did a threesome.
Yeah, because I think it was when What's His Face died, wasn't it? I think that's when we did it.
Alex Trebek, and then they got, that was right before the Fat Bracket, and they did really well because of it.
Yeah, they did. I'm going DOND.
I'm also going to go deal or no deal because I think being able to control something and constantly adjust to ever-changing situations is a super strong relationship to athletic training. So I'm putting this up on social media. I'm be interested to see what people say. We'll read the results next week. Okay.
Next.
Let's do our F, Marry, Kill.
Okay.
And Kevin, do you want to give? Do you want to get while I put this tweet out? Do you
Marry.
Do you remember it? The spicy massages.
Okay, we got some spicy massages.
We got 3
folks.
spicy massages.
All right, and how the Candid Athletic Training guys have not had some spicy massage in your FMK is beyond us. But we're going to FMK massaging adductors, massaging glutes, and massaging hip flexors. Is that what we said?
Hip flexors, glutes, and adductors.
Okay. So, FMK, you got F, you got to marry, and you got to kill. Massaging hip flexors, glutes, all of them, medis, maxes, minimuses, and a little adductor.
What do you got?
I'm going to... Ooh, baby. I'm gonna kill adductors.
Nisi's aggressive here.
Oh, Jesus.
This might not be a topic for me. I will massage all the parts.
All the parts.
You're killing adductors?
I'm gonna kill adductors.
It's the most risky.
They're very important. Very. Everybody listen up. Your adductors are important. We need to contract them. We need to stretch them. We need to massage them. We need to strengthen them. They're an important muscle group. But doing massage on said adductors, I feel like is not as beneficial as taking people through some self-massage to the area, as well as showing people mobility / strengthening exercises for them. Because a lot of people just are uncomfortable when you're either getting in there with that elbow or maybe using those hands. And when maybe something is like, hey, I hope I don't have too much lotion on my hands. Everybody's just closing their eyes anyways. I'm gonna F with the hip flexors because my favorite position is missionary. I'm just kidding. And hip flexors are, shortened. I'm just kidding. I think they are your hip flexors, whether it be psoas, iliacus, and or, even working into those upper quadricepses. There might only be one person getting pleasure out of that, and it ain't the person on the table. So I'm going to F it because pretty much your significant other probably said, oh, you're already done. Cool. Whatever. Or not significant other. Marry those glutes because hips and glutes don't lie. There's so much work to be done and so many avenues to go through, and there's big problems and little problems. And I think when you massage into these gluteuses, you're in for the long haul. You're in for the long haul. It's going to take a lot more time. Pretty much just not that rectus and not
some of the live stream comments are really good here.
We got Nate saying, F that groin. Kill that hip flexor. Can't be cutting off that blood flow. It's so close to the femoral artery. Marry that booty. Nate also says pretty much just that erectus, not erectus. Nate.
Kyle asked a pretty good question, not to spark a tangent, but how much of the hip flexor are you truly massaging? The psoas is super deep.
I'll tell you what. I do it all the time. Constantly. I'm always in there.
Dig and dig and dig.
I'm gonna tell you this. Yes, on a lot of people, anybody that tells me like I am not actually like getting to the psoas, I will show people that I am because I can feel it. What else am I feeling?
Did you june him?
Who cares? Like, just because I'm still affecting that tissue if I can feel it underneath my hand. Okay. Now, there's some people that you ain't getting to it. And, beer bellies be beer bellies.
I'm going to start with my F. I think I have to F the adductors.
You love where they're located.
There's a lot of reasons I'll F the adductors. It's the most titillating.
Ooh.
Like you have to be a little bit on edge, just a little bit. You have to be really like know what you're doing. You have to know what you're doing because otherwise you're going to end up in a bad place.
You got to be a pro.
You can always bring in a lot of different toys.
Oh.
And by toys, I mean massage tools.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's toys.
Yeah.
In fact, the most, I feel like stick massages, trigger point balls. Any sort of, what are those things called? The prongy thingies, the plastic prongs. Looks like a
I don't know.
Mouse pad gone wrong. I mean, all sorts of those things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you need toys.
I got a really stiff rod back here that you could use on some adductors.
A foam roller.
Mm-hmm.
And then also there are a very, like you were saying, you can use different movement patterns, right?
Super stiff rod. And in fact, it's
if you
literally
need a stiff rod, Kevin's got it.
It's called the rad rod. Rod.
Come on YouTube and check out Kevin's stiff rod.
Yes.
So with the adductors, you can bring in a lot of toys. You can also bring in a lot of different positions, like movement patterns. Like there's so many good ways of movement that will help loosen up adductors.
There are.
I will marry the glutes. I think you make a good argument there. There are big problems, little problems. With glutes, so okay, with adductors, you can use your hands, you can use your forearms, you can use your elbows. With your glutes, how often are you? I'm using my elbow 90% of the time on a glute massage. Agree or disagree? Are you using your thumb? Trying to break your thumb off in someone's butt? I am digging my elbow in there and then internally, externally rotating, right?
No, you are. Unfortunately, in my line of work right now, I'm not. What'd you say? 90?
I just threw out a number, but more often than not, it's probably 90%. I'm using my elbow. Elbow deep in the butt.
When I was working with athletes, and most of them decent sized athletes, yes. Now sometimes I have 5'2", like 110-pound little ladies.
Still stick my elbow in their ass.
I just don't have to. I've also gotten really good at using my hands, but not crushing my hands.
Okay.
But
using a knuckle deep in there.
I've been knuckle deep a few times. No, I mean I've legitimately I've learned how to do techniques. Where I'm not crushing my thumb.
You have to pay extra for those. No, the patients have to pay extra for Kevin's special glue technique. So anyways, I think marrying that, because it is the most amount of work.
I've had some patients lately. They're just going, oh. And I'm like, man, if everybody's hearing that.
Yeah.
And they knew where my thumb was, whoa.
So yeah, you have to work the hardest at working a booty.
Oh, you do.
So that's marriage. And then I'll kill the hip flexor, because massage, I kind of agree with Kyle. You're not doing, you're going to do more stretch than actual massage. You might do some. Plus, that's also a little awkward. Like, you got to do the corner, like pull the underwear down just a little, but not too much. Let's get some towels in there.
If you want
to.
You don't have to.
It's just more, it's just not very smooth, I think. So I would kill that one, because I'd much rather just massage the other ones.
I got a course idea.
Yes, let's do it.
Sensual massage with Kevin and Chet. I want to do like a massage. Here's some massage stuff for athletic trainers. I feel like athletic trainers, like, either like, why would I, like, massage is awkward for them because they just don't have to do massage. I want to do that. I'm going to do that. Kevin be out here doing Kali. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, Kali Mas?
Yeah, what does that mean?
I don't know. Kali Mas, like
I don't
Indiana
know the reference.
Jones.
I've been trying to figure it out.
Indiana Jones reference.
I know, it's an Indiana Jones reference. On those hip
Dr.
flexors.
Jones.
Doctor.
We'll have to look that up.
I love it. I definitely want to marry some booty, though. I mean glutes.
Yeah. So we're in agreement. You and I are, we're both marrying
booties.
Massage in the booty.
Glutes. Yeah.
All right. We were going to do another feature topic, but this episode's
grabbing the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be yeah. That is me.
We'll save
marry that butt. Never gets old. It's used a lot and needs the attention regularly. I got this stupid heart thing that's in my way. Oh, kill hip flexors. Way too personal for effing. Gotta respect that booty. Okay. I was just reading some comments.
Yeah.
Megan.
Very good.
All right. What's next?
That's it. We're done.
All done?
I mean, we could do another feature topic if you want, or we can save it for next week. Let's save it.
Yeah, let's save it. It's just good fodder for next time.
You know, we teased it at the intro, but let's do it again. Thanks again, the official sponsor of Candid Athletic Training Room, HealthyRoster.com. Make sure you Check them out if you are looking for a new EMR. Tell them that the Candid Athletic Training gentleman is where you heard about them. Thanks again to Ed and Smart Tools Plus. 10% off using the code CANDID10. Obviously, you just heard Ed talk quite a bit about their new version 4 of the Smart Cuffs. Super cool product. Highly recommend you check it out. And then also, we didn't mention them before, but thanks to Athletic Trainer Insurance Plus, discounted professional and personal liability insurance for Candid Athletic Training members. So very fun. It's always nice to have people on to talk about. Ed's doing some pretty cool things. So
yeah,
I'm pretty excited that we're working with them.
I love the direction he might be going with some CEUs.
Yeah, we need to follow up with them and see how we can help.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. CandidAthleticTraining.com, CandidAthleticTraining@gmail, Candid_ATC. Talk to us. Leave us stuff. I don't know. Suggestions, all the above. So, love all ya.
Bye.
Bye.